Hi there, welcome to Driving with Jonny. I'm Jonny, and today I'm at the super fancy Mayborn Hotel in Beverly Hills because I'm driving this, the super fancy 2027 Mercedes-Maybach S680. The S680 part means it has a 6-liter V12, and so the real question is this $250,000 worth of luxury or not? And also, as always, would I have one? Let's find out. As far as design goes, the 2027 model is the mid-cycle refresh of this particular platform. As such, they took what existed before and made it look, well, more opulent. First thing you notice is the grille is much larger. Also, of course, you've got the 3-pointed Mercedes headlights, which normally I'm against, but they kind of work here. I'm okay with it right here. This Maybach thing lights up. You can still get a hood ornament, and you can option it so it lights up. And I think the US is one of the only countries where this is still allowed because light up one for pedestrian safety, that's a thing. They put the Maybach badges down here. I'm kind of glad. I've driven other Maybachs. You've seen the convertible where there's like too many Maybach badges. I think this is the perfect amount. Coming down the side, monoblocks. I mean, there is no better wheel. That's the ultimate wheel. I love it. It looks fantastic. I think now they did the Rolls-Royce trick where this doesn't spin. I don't know why, but that doesn't spin. Also, you'll notice this has two-tone paint. And I learned something interesting, and that is this car left the assembly line painted black, and then it's taken off the assembly line. They bring it into the Maybach part of the factory, and they pull the paint off, and then they paint it white, and then hand pinstripe it. Actually, this is all hand done too. So, yeah, that's for the money you're paying for this car. That's a good thing. They've added a couple cameras, including this one here. There must have been a more elegant way to do this, but whatever. At least you still have a V12 badge. And then it's longer than any other car, which is great. Totally cool Maybach badge. Out back, not much difference except for if you look at the taillights, you can see they've incorporated the 3-pointed stars. Again, it works here. I don't think it's working on some other Mercedes models at the moment, but overall, the S680 looks the part, right? This is the opposite of stealth wealth. This is I'm rich and I want you to know about it, and now you know. Inside the Maybach S680, it's very nice. It's very nice if you like screens. If you don't like screens, too much screen, but it's very nice. And while it does say manufacturer here, this is not the full manufacturer interior. If we really had that, we would have a different seat pattern and we'd have two-tone leather up on the roof. I think we'll be okay with just one color leather on the roof. If not, complain to Mercedes. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the pinstriping, the ambient lighting. I like the leather for the phone chargers. It's very nice, and it's ventilated, which is great. It'll protect your battery. One thing this has is a 31-speaker, 1,500-watt sound system by the Burmeister. And while I would love to know who the Burmeister is, it does have this cool feature. If you come here to Burmeister, you'll see individual. So they have these like sound presets, like pure, intense, whatever. I don't know what any of that means. However, you come to configure, personalize, and it's like a setup thing. If you're into home stereos, you've done this where you try and figure out the position of your speakers or the best place to sit in your living room is. But let's just, I haven't done this before. Let's see what it does. Okay, start. So it's asking me questions, and I say, I like my bass like that. Yeah, all right, I like my treble like that. Okay. Lowest volume I want to hear. Oh yeah, that's too low. So this would be like if you're in reverse or something like that, I think. Okay, and then sound balance for lowest. Yeah, more bass on the low. That's good. Drums and percussion. right there. Boom. And so this is apparently how I like my sound. Bass, intensive, less vocals, closer to brilliant. No, far away from brilliant. I want intensive, not brilliant. So there you go. And then if you don't like it, I guess I can hit refresh and I can start the process all over again. Forget about the front seat. The real action takes place in the back of the Maybach S680. Say what you want about the brand. No one does a rear seat quite like Maybach. I got everything I need here. Giant video monitor, tray table that pops out, extra pillows, because you got to have extra pillows. Not one, but two cell phones, which aren't actually cell phones. Each one of these controls your rear seating environment. Like ever since they introduced the LED ambient lighting to Mercedes, you have full control over all the different colors, including, of course, jungle green. This is for my side. This is for their side. Of course, being a Maybach, wireless phone charger, and it's not just tech stuff. There's actually some cool physical things too, meaning I have two different size cup holders that are heated and cooled. I just press a button and I can have a hot espresso or a cold brew. And then you see these cup holders here and you're saying, well, what are those? These are for the included silver, actual silver, Maybach champagne flutes. So they won't shatter, and you can drink your bubbly, cruise down the highway, and then you just clip them in place here. Somehow, I'm breaking it, but there's a way to do it. And yeah, good to go. And remember, you're not driving, you're lounging in the back of your Maybach. Next time I'd like to get some champagne. That's the one thing this is missing. I've done this 1,000 times, never actually have champagne. Next time, bring champagne. Better yet, have Mercedes supply me with champagne. Oh my gosh, I just cut off a Prius cab. All right, slow it down. Speed limit in Beverly Hills is 25 miles per hour. So we're gonna see what we can do to obey it. And we figured just cruising the mean streets of Beverly Hills would be the best place to review the Mercedes-Maybach S680. Yes, it has a V12, 621 horsepower, 664 pound-feet of torque. In addition to comfort mode, it's got Maybach mode and sport mode. It's a 6-liter V12. It's been in production for ever and ever and ever and ever. And I'm not going to go over 26 miles an hour. All right, I'm not going to go over 31 miles an hour. I just looked down. I was going 31. It's hard to go 25, but that's the speed limit. For a couple reasons. One is it's not a sports car. It's a giant Luxo barge. You know what I'm saying? We're just going to be cruising around. I will say the air conditioning is incredibly effective, and during a wild heat wave like we're experiencing this summer on planet Earth, very much appreciated. I suppose you want to know, what's it like? And that is the question. What is it like? What's it like to drive around behind the wheel of this much luxury? This thing is massive. Very, very luckily, it has four-wheel steering, so it's quite nimble. I think the turning radius is the same as a smart car. It's ridiculous. But it's just, we've got every luxury feature known to mankind. One other good thing Mercedes did, and I noticed this really when driving around, when they updated the M-Bucks, the UI for this year, they've done a good job with kind of managing all the different apps. It used to be just a total, I don't know, it was all over the place, and this is just a much better way to do it. So good job there. It also eliminated one of my least favorite things. Was you would hit the home button twice and that would bring up this screen, and then you see this icon right there. Well, that icon would be meaning this, I think, or well, there it is. But oh, they did it. Oh no, same icon twice. I hate that. Same icon twice that does two different things. Not ideal. Not ideal. No one's ever accused Maybach of subtlety, and as you can see, there is nothing subtle about this interior. Imagine getting caught in there. But it's nice. It's really, really nice. Giant screen. Look, if you're going to have a giant screen, make it a great screen. A screen that you can actually use while driving, and which is not always the case. It's also got these cool metal buttons, which are new for 2027. We like those. Dynamic drive, parking, microphone, those kind of things. Oh, here we are. Crazy 5-way Beverly Hills stop. What's crazy is I haven't had my foot on the gas pedal in about 25 seconds, and I'm still way over the speed limit. 25 miles an hour is wild, Beverly Hills, just wild. Best massage in the business. Rest of the industry, you gotta catch up. I don't know why you can't, but you can't. Oh, here's one of my favorite features that Mercedes has that no one else has, and no one knows about it if you don't have a Mercedes. But you see where it says kinetic? Let me show you this. So what this does is, and it's killer on long trips, is it just moves the seat a little bit. It does like little micro adjustments. And if you're on a long trip, what you realize is by doing this, it just kind of moves your body. So you're not sitting in the same position for hours on end. It just kind of like, like 1 degree here, 1 degree there, but it's really cool. And you can get in there and you can play with it, like what gets moved and all that. And you can do the program. But I love, unavailable. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Stop. Back. Yeah. 96. I love kinetic. This is one of my favorite features on any Mercedes. Super cool. And then this is all the adjustments you can make, which is crazy. I'm going to go to comfort to get the most out of this air suspension. Oh, yeah. Oh. Being told to slow down because I'm going 26 in a 25. It's a very effective sign you got there, Beverly Hills. But yeah, it's very, very relaxing. It's just, you don't hear much. I hear the fan vent. I hear a little rumble from the road noise, but not enough to distract me from anything. They keep talking about how, this is a car to be driven in, and I'm sure there's a few people that are driven around in these things. I think most people kind of drive themselves. If you're driven around, we saw the back seat. You could be drinking champagne. You could be getting a massage back there and watching stuff. Oh, actually, it was funny in the presentation. They were like, and it's got bigger rear screen. So now if you want to like have a Microsoft Teams meeting, and I'm like, bro, if I got the cash to afford one of these, I'm never going to be on a Teams meeting again as long as I live. That's for other people. Like, it's one of those things. Every time you use Microsoft Teams, just know you're not successful enough. There are people so successful, they never have to deal with that nonsense. And it is one of those funny things. Like, yeah, it's cool it has a V12. Here's the part that everyone's going to hate. This would work better as an electric vehicle. I know, no V12. But, like, the point of a V12 in this situation, remember, it's a split, right? V12's like in a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. Like, they're loud, they're stonking, they're snorting, they're making a lot of noise. And the reason they're making a lot of noise is they're performance cars. In a Rolls-Royce, you have a V12 because there's a way to make it very quiet, but it provides sufficient torque, and it's exotic. It's something that the plebes don't have. We're going to talk about Thorsten Veblen in a second, but if you floor this thing, and I don't know, I'm driving around Beverly Hills in the middle of the day, not going to be a lot of opportunities to floor it, especially with that 25 mile an hour speed limit and that famous motorcycle cop who just loves pulling people over. But it's loud in a car where you don't want any loud noises unless you're blasting the stereo. Also, the transmission, like, yeah, it's a 9-speed, but if you do floor it, it's got to kick down, and then you got to wait. That's not luxurious. I got to wait for a gear, wait for the turbos to spool up. So I'm dealing with lag. I'm waiting on gear shifts. Like an EV, dead silent, more torque. And remember, Bob Lutz famously said Americans buy horsepower but drive torque. We like to jackrabbit off the line. Jackhammering is something else we like, but not in a car. We like to jackrabbit off the line, and then, yeah, we just want everything to be as smooth as possible in a car like this. And an electric powertrain would suit it better. It's coming. For now, yeah, V12. You got to go with the V12. If you were to debase yourself and get the V8, it's 530 horsepower, 500, and I forget, 560 pound-feet of torque. You definitely want the 12. You want the 664 pound-feet of torque. But yeah, the powertrain somehow, even though I do like V12s, is by far the least interesting part of the Maybach experience. It's really about what's going on in the interior. My seats are cooled, my seats are massaged. Every time I look at something, it's kind of like, oh, look at that, that's neat. Oh, look at that, that looks cool. That feels cool. That's metal or leather or wood. I would say one place Mercedes falls down compared to her, one place Maybach falls down compared to, say, Bentley or Rolls-Royce. By the way, the Rolls-Royce Cullinan behind me. One place that falls down is the use of wood. There's not enough of it. And I was recently looking at an Overfinch Range Rover. I don't know if you know Overfinch, but they take a Range Rover and they figure out how to like triple the price. And mostly it's with wood. And it's just such a cool, exotic material these days. And yeah, Mercedes has wood. This piano black stuff here is wood, but it's just one type of wood. And I think they could do more. Also, not being, I don't want to be, how do I put this? It's a lot of screen. It's useful, it's a lot of screen, but the passenger screen, I just think people are so addicted to iPhones. No one's looking at passenger screens. Get rid of it. Replace it with wood. As far as the ride goes, yeah, bro, buttery smooth. Handling, who cares? You're just sort of wafting around. Again, 664 pound-feet of torque. It's going to be pretty quick, but again, not what it's about. It's just not. Price, the V12 starts at 249 something, but let's call it 250,000. You're going to go nuts with options. You're going to be looking at $300,000 for the Maybach S680 that you want. And hey, that's just great. That's just great. You know, a lot of these are going to be business write-offs or whatever, and fine. $300,000 for a piece of luxury, this ornate, this standout, yeah, that's totally fine. And then we should talk pricing. It might matter to some customers. The price for the V12 is $249,000 some odd dollars. Call it $250,000. Bentley Mulsanne, look at that. That's a real luxury car there. Not that this is a fake luxury car, but that's a real luxury car. Anyhow, the Bentley costs a lot more than $250,000, and you could view this as something of a luxury bargain, because, you know, if you're looking at a comparable Bentley, it's going to cost much more, and it's not going to really do anything that this doesn't do. In fact, just in terms of like features and options and champagne stemware, this does more. Sure, to get the Maybach that you want, to make it your Bach instead of Maybach, you're going to be looking at least $50,000 in options. $300,000, yeah, that feels appropriate. That feels about what this should cost. I see no trouble there. Look, you know, like Mercedes is for wealthy people, Maybach's for really wealthy people. Don't worry about it if you can't swing it. I mentioned earlier a guy named Thorsten Veblen, and I think to really understand this car, you gotta understand Thorsten Veblen. So he was an American economist, despite being named Thorsten Veblen, University of Wisconsin, and he wrote a book called The Theory of the Leisure Class, and it's so true all these years later. But basically, the theory of the leisure class goes like this. The leisure class, meaning rich people, they're not interested in just having the best technology. They're interested in having something that you, the poors, can't afford. So the example that Veblen lists is when electric lights came out, electricity, but electric lights, only the rich could afford to get their homes rewired. So an electric light dinner became very romantic. That was the one thing that the poors couldn't do. Then when electricity became cheap and everyone had it, suddenly candlelight dinners became all the rage and were considered more romantic because only the wealthy could afford to light candles and have electricity. The poors could just pay their electric bills. And that's sort of like, why would you get the V12 over the V8? On paper, the performance between the V8 and the V12 is almost going to be no difference, especially because I think the V8 has a little bit of a hybrid assist. This just costs more, but you're buying it because the person who buys the V8, they can't afford the V12. You're buying the Maybach because a normal rich guy, hey, he can buy a Mercedes-Benz. You can afford a Mercedes-Maybach. So again, you have to understand the theory of the leisure class, and then this car makes a bunch more sense. That said, man, I wish I was in the leisure class.
Understanding the leisure class can indeed enhance your appreciation for the intricacies of a Mercedes. It's fascinating how technology and design come together to create such a refined driving experience. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh man, do I agree. Tell me more.
The concept of the leisure class often sparks intriguing discussions about lifestyle and privilege. It's fascinating how different social classes can influence our experiences and perspectives on life, especially in a vibrant place like Beverly Hills.
Which is where we are. Now, my question would be, though, when you have a leisure class who owns all the resources and then the lower class has nothing, doesn't that lead to like violent communist revolution?
If you're interested in exploring more about societal structures, perhaps we could discuss some influential thinkers or books on the subject.
Sure. How about Das Kapital by Karl Marx?
Karl Marx's Das Kapital is a critical analysis of political economy, focusing on capitalism's dynamic.
All right, cancel.
It explores concepts like labor.
All right. That was just spontaneous. That just happened. But anyways, yeah, there is a lot to think about here. I'm choosing to ignore everyone who's not in the 1%. Actually, if you're buying this car, you're in the 0.1 of the 1%, which is a fine place to land. So let's just keep driving. Yeah, so, the questions we asked at the beginning, and they were, is it sufficiently luxurious enough? It's almost a caricature of luxury. It's too luxurious. It's got everything. It's the kitchen sink. And, again, that might be how you differentiate this from, not necessarily a Bentley, but from a Rolls-Royce. I feel like a Rolls-Royce can be a more calm driving experience, where this is just a lot of ambient lights. And by the way, that's the champagne glasses. I didn't put them away. That's them clinking around back there. But yes, this is no longer just for the nouveau riche, an actual landed gentry, blue-blooded, rich person who inherited their wealth would be very happy in one of these. Trust me. Don't ask how I know. Is it worth the money? And we already kind of answered that one, but yes, definitely. Again, we live in this crazy, I don't want to call it hyperinflation, but when a well-optioned Accord can touch $50,000, $300,000, $250,000 for a V12 Maybach isn't wild. It's just, it actually does represent something of a good value, because again, for this level of sedan luxury, it's Bentley and Rolls-Royce, and I would even say, if you're really bargain shopping, and BMW is about to solve this, but the current i7 kind of does everything this does. They're about to have an Alpina 7 Series that'll get into this price stratosphere, the $250,000 and up. But yeah, this is good value for money, if you can say that about a preposterous luxury vehicle like this. And then the big question is, would I have one? Well, if I lived in a place like this, this being a really nice neighborhood in Beverly Hills, yeah, I think were I in the market for something like this, I would definitely consider it. I still think the GLS, that's the SUV, not that it's better, but it's just so funny that they took a 3-row and made a 4-seater out of it. That kind of waste is exciting. However, this is a better vehicle. And this is, again, the GLS is like almost full size, whereas this is like full size, baby. You know what I'm saying? Compare it to like the Bentley Flying Spur, which is really just a Panamera. You know, I just, my problem with the Flying Spur is that it's not a Mulsanne, and Bentley's trying to pitch it as if, oh, you don't need a Mulsanne, just get the Flying Spur. So I think as a luxury vehicle, this is better. Rolls-Royce Ghost. Wow, that's a finer vehicle. However, that's probably close to twice as much money. And when I said you can think of the Maybach as something of a value, that's really what I was talking about, is that, you know, you have to start thinking about vehicles that just cost so much more. And again, you know, the Ghost does have that Rolls-Royce badge. It is that much more exclusive. You know, if you look at like the psychographics of where people stack brands, you know, Rolls-Royce is just going to be stacked higher than Maybach. That's just the way it is. It also happens that the Ghost is, you know, a hell of a vehicle. It's no Phantom, but what is? That said, I'd be really happy if I got stuck in one of these, as would you. As always, thank you so much for watching what I have to say. If you want to like this video, that'd be great. If you want to become a member of our channel, that'd be even better. Subscribe, that'd be cool too. Leave a comment. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I crazy? Share it with a friend. And we will catch you next week with another brand new episode of Driving with Johnny.